Hello, isopod and gecko fans. Wait, I don't think you can hear me. I need to fix this. Hold on just a second. Whoops, wrong button. Let me fix this. Yeah, that's a whole lot better. The sound's going to be crazy in this room, but I'm going to get used to it because it's fish tanks. So this has been building up for about a year. I've planned it out for a whole year, putting this all together simply because I have a love for fish. Now, I've been dropping hints all over the place, from Facebook to Instagram to YouTube. I've hinted here and there that something big is coming, and here it is. At one point, I had this designed to be a 6-foot shelf. It's whittled down to about a 4-foot shelf. I had this designed to be on the opposite side of the room, until I realized that our tub was on that side, and with this additional weight and a filled tub, that might be a little bit too much for an inside wall. So I put this back to the outside wall. Now it's only 4 foot, but this is fine. We're going to have about 18 to 20 tanks going at one time, and this will be enough. But before I get into this setup and what's in each tank, let me tell you a little bit about Wally and his history with aquatics.
Where are we going to, Mr. Peabody?
It started years and years ago, back in the 80s, back in the 90s. I had about 125 tanks.
Wow.
I was a member of the Milwaukee Aquarium Society. I was a member of the BAP. I was the vice president. I was the president. Nanette was the vice president. She was the president. We did the MAS newsletter, the Splash. I had to remember back that long ago. Yes, I'm that old. But it was a bunch of fun. I absolutely loved keeping and breeding fish. Anywhere from killifish to exotic live bearers to Lake Tanganicus, Tropheus, to the shell dwellers. I even loved to keep the South American cichlids, especially the Apistogramma. And I even got into breeding discus. Like I said, that room was about 125 tanks. Every inch of that room was planned out to the T. I had from 5 gallons to 10 gallons, and most of the tanks were 50-gallon tanks. We had a half horsepower blower running that whole room, 1/2-inch PVC, tons and tons and tons of lines all over the place. The funny thing is that we didn't have heaters in any of the tanks. Well, maybe a few of the tanks, but most of the heat came from that 1/2 horsepower blower. The biggest tank was a 125 planted discus tank. I started with 10 discus in that tank. They grew up, and I actually had 4 pair at one time guarding eggs on lift tubes. That tank was run by a wet-dry filter, a drip filter, which nobody at that time was doing. So why did I get out of fish? Well, we had 3 young boys, and the youngest had some issues with their health. It just became too much. I had to decide between my career, my family, and the fish. And I had to keep 2 and let one of them go, and it wasn't going to be my family. And it was just too much of a jump to make the fish a full-time career. So it came down to one weekend. I bundled everything up and sold everything in that room. Fish, the tanks, the blower, all the equipment, all in one weekend. It was crazy. But that was 25 years ago. In between then, I've done orchids, I've gotten into geckos, I've done isopods, all kinds of crazy hobbies. I love the geckos, I love the isopods, but that fire was still burning somewhere inside of me. I had to get back into fish. So at the beginning of 2020, I decided to keep a fish tank. But the plans changed immediately. I absolutely knew I couldn't do another 125 fish tank fish room again. But I had to do more than just one tank. I had to keep a few species that I just fell in love with back in the old days. I had to keep them again. So my plans were to keep a few apistos, a few live bearers, a few killifish, and just a handful of other fish in a very, very small area specific to this office. Which brings us to the fish rack. Now on this fish rack, I have 10 5-gallons, I have 8 10 gallons, and I have one 30-gallon breeder And I have in the corner of this room another 35, I think it's 35, it might be a 40-gallon tank. It isn't filled yet, but it'll be filling probably sometime in the next couple of months. Now, I'll be keeping you updated on what happens with these fish, but right now I'm keeping 3 different species of Apistogramma. One wild betta type, I'm keeping a pair of guppies, a regular betta, and a group of Pelvicachromis. I'm also keeping some shrimp, and one live bearer type. In future videos, I'll be talking about basic fish care, about breeding, about live foods, about equipment, but that's not the focus of this channel. It's still going to be geckos, and it's still going to be isopods, but this is going to be a fun addition. So absolutely, hit that subscription button, hit the notification bell, and make sure you stay tuned for 2021 because you're going to see some amazing, amazing fish. This is going to be a fun journey. I'm also going to do some interviews with local fish keepers. This is exciting, folks. I really want to share with you what's going on here and what's going on in the fish world because this is an exciting aspect of my hobby now. But like I said earlier, this is an addition. Gecko and isopod fans, hang in there because we're going to have our regular schedule of gecko and isopod videos. Gecko isopod videos on Tuesday or Wednesdays, and isopod videos on Fridays. We're going to have plenty of live interviews with people. We're going to have live streams, but this is going to be a nice addition to this whole content that I'm bringing you in 2021. I hope you like this video. I hope you're excited about what's happening here. If you are, hit that like button. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next video.